this guy would fucking murder me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any person on this card who is not capable of murdering you with your bare hands. But
Sure.
I'm Justin Lesko, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt and former pro MMA fighter.
And I'm Mike Callahan, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt and a law enforcement officer.
All right, let me throw some names at you.
Bring 'em
Kanan, Matthias Denise, Lucas Barbosa, William Tackett, Dante Leon, Nikki Ryan, Gio Martinez, Mikey Musumeci.
up. I'm listening.
Now, what if I told you all of those names will be competing at the Road to ADCC?
Yeah, now I'm pumped.
And you and I are about to preview those matches.
It sounds like a dream come true for any jiu-jitsu fan. The jiu-jitsu world is very lucky that we're so giving.
Well, on top of this preview, something else we're giving to the jiu-jitsu world is 15% off the best jiu-jitsu apparel out there, because when you use the code podcast15 at epicrollbjj.com, that's exactly what you're going to get.
They literally have anything that you need. They have gis, rash guards, shirts, artwork, coffee mugs, anything that you guys need. Epic Roll BJJ has you guys covered.
Grapplers should wear gear that was designed by grapplers. This is what Epic Roll is. epicrollbjj.com and coupon code podcast15 to take 15% off your order.
So go give them a follow at Epic Roll BJJ, and like Justin said, go to their website epicrollbjj.com and use the coupon code podcast15 to get 15% off of all your orders.
Let's preview the Road to ADCC. Welcome to That Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. We haven't been recording for a while, and I was actually going to wear my hat today because if you're watching the YouTube version, you can see my hair's going a little bit wild, but I figured even with a couple weeks off and crazy hair, I still win the hair contest out of the two of us, so I figured no hat, I'm just going to rock with it.
I have like this, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I went a little shorter on top, but I was on vacation last week and went like 7 days with zero product or anything. So
it sounds like a nightmare for your wife.
Well, it was a nightmare. No, went down to Ocean City, Maryland for a week, a nice little getaway. Managed to stumble into to a gym and train down there.
What was it called? What was the place? Have I been there before?
You haven't been there before. No. It's called Infinity Martial Arts. So anybody who's familiar with Ocean City, Maryland, there's a bridge that crosses over the bay there, and it's in like Berlin, Ocean Pines, that kind of area. And I've been there once before, and I walked in, and there was like 5 people on the mat, and I'm like, okay, I'll get some training in. And then it was just balls to the wall for 50 minutes. They have a black belt there who the owner of the school, his name's Mike Otwell, and he was real chill when I got there. He said, he's like, we're going to start in a little bit. We're just stretching out, whatever. So, more people started coming in, but taught some gi chokes and very technical. But then, I rolled with some of the lower belts there, and it was great fucking training. I got kind of put through the ringer there. I don't want to say that because I don't want these guys to think that I think that they beat me.
You want me to edit that part out?
No, yeah, but I got some good rolls in. They got some monsters there for sure.
Why didn't you have Diane and Jay filming content for you, training and getting footage of rolling? Like, yeah, it's nice to put a picture in this story, but you could have had like a camera woman film you.
That wasn't going to be possible. I show up with like my wife and my kids, and that's like their only
2 studio
there.
lights.
Yeah.
It's nice that you're pretending that these are family vacations so that you can go train at other schools.
But at the same time, it's taken me away from my number one job,
money making.
Not
podcast,
not law enforcement work, but podcasting. But no.
Well, you come back this week into a super card. The Road to ADCC is coming up, so you can jump right back into high quality podcast production where we'll talk about some of these matches for the Road to ADCC.
Yeah. It's actually really cool too, because for whatever reason, like the calendar just kind of gets turned off when you're on vacation. I thought it was 2 weeks away, like, and now earlier this week I'm like, holy shit, this is coming up quick. So, yeah, this might be. I think that this is what Michael Sears was talking about when we were talking to him a couple months ago when he was dropping hints about this.
That interview is up here, by the way. Put that interview up here with Michael Sears from Flow Grappling. But I agree. This is a pretty stacked super card, and the only thing missing is Craig Jones, who broke his hand because it was supposed to be Craig Jones versus Lucas Hulk Barbosa, but Craig broke his hand in Puerto Rico, and then we'll get there. We'll get to the replacements and big fights. But yeah, dude, like all of those names I mentioned in the intro, it's like big fucking names in jiu-jitsu are on one card. It's like who's number one plus. Like it's like fight to win bumps up to who's number one, and then who's number one bumps up to road to ADCC.
This could, any one of these fights on this card could be a main event. Any one of these fights, you know? And yeah, I was really bummed to see that Craig Jones was out, but William Tackett being a fucking gangster, stepping up.
William Tackett steps in to replace Craig Jones against Hulk, which stepping in to replace Craig Jones against Hulk on short notice is sort of crazy because Hulk is, you don't get the nickname Hulk for not being Hulk-like, and he's also very, very good at jiu-jitsu and Hulk-like. So
he's not as big. He's not as big as he used to be. Might be cycling off. Anyway, we're not even going to get into that.
Anyway.
Hey, no, we're not going to talk about that.
Anyway,
we're not going to talk about how he has smaller arms than Justin right now. Hey, we're not going to talk about that. But it's
Hulk might be a little upset. But Hulk just coming off the weirdest match of at least this year, possibly for the last couple years, where I think it was at BJJ Stars, where the match ends with Hulk. It looks like he gets put to sleep.
He did get put to sleep,
and then. Not if you ask Hulk, but it looks like he gets put to sleep.
Yeah.
And then he's still declared the winner of the decision, despite the match ending with him seemingly put to sleep. And
so
it was peculiar.
He got choked out by Matthias Denise, and if there was 5 seconds more on that in that match, it would have been clear cut. I still think he should have lost. I mean, he's a stud. He's been doing well. Apparently, he turned down Nicky Rod for this matchup. But anyway, William Tackett, who is a stud. It must be something with the last name too. These stepping in last minute, late replacements. Because
it must be like a Tackett thing. Like we only fight on late replacement.
His brother just fought Micah Galvo, and I think his brother also fought one of the Rotolos recently.
Yeah. Like the Tacketts have been, especially with who's number one being in Texas. I think that's where they're from, and I'm sorry if that's not accurate, but I think that's where they're from. So they've been on a couple of these who's number one Flow Grappling events, and William Tackett stepping in on short notice against Hulk is admirable, I would say, because I don't want to face Hulk on any day's number of preparation, let alone short notice.
So William Tackett stepped in against Ty Rotolo. That's what it was. William Tackett stepped in against Ty Rotolo in April. And I think that was to replace Craig Jones.
Right, because that was the Craig Jones COVID vaccine.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Issues.
Right, so just so we're clear, it was Andrew Tackett.
There's two of them.
There's two of them. And they're not even fucking twins. It's not like we're confusing. We're just confusing brothers here. Andrew Tackett fought Micah Galvo and lost. Ty Rotolo fought William Tackett. William Tackett also has a win within the last year over Andrew Wiltsey from Pedigo Submission Fighting. So,
who's also on this card, who we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
This is like This is bad. Like
It's like Inception.
it's like who's on
bro,
first?
I heard you like good jiu-jitsu fights. Well, here's a good jiu-jitsu fight inside a good jiu-jitsu fight.
Like all of our millions of fans are going to be like calling each other and be like, "Hey, these fucking idiots? They just keep saying names. Like there's nothing to it." Like,
but I think that this is going to be a very exciting fight. I think that William Tackett will come out and I don't know. I would assume in a short notice fight. I mean, these guys train all the time. I was going to say in a short notice fight, you want to put the pressure on early, but it's not like he's not training and I don't know. If I was William Tackett, I would come out and I would try to put the pressure on Hulk, which is very difficult to do.
Lucas Barbosa is not a very entertaining fighter. William Tackett is a very entertaining fighter. So hopefully this match kind of follows the pace that William Tackett sets and he kind of forces Hulk outside of his comfort zone. Because I'm not really like, let's see some exciting matches. This is a card that's full of super fights. Let's do this.
All right. Well, let's not spend too much time on each match because we do have a lot of them to cover, and people don't like it when we put out 4-hour podcasts. So, I mean, I like it, but people don't like it. So, moving right along.
Yeah.
We have Kanan versus Matthias Denise. And I think Denise wants to grind and get the submission. That's sort of his style. He wants to wear you down and be aggressive and then get a late sub. I think that style will force this match to be exciting. While we're talking about exciting matches, I think that style will force this match to have a lot of action.
I don't know how big Kanan's going to be when he steps onto the mat, but if you remember, Matthias was the ADCC champ at 88 kilos. Kanan competes. 2 years ago, he won ADCC at the over 99 kilo weight division. So there's a high likelihood here that there's going to be a significant size difference. I really like Matthias Denise. I like Kanan too. Kanan's so young still. I think
right. Like you don't think of him as being very young, but he is very young.
I think that Matthias has only been submitted once at black belt, and it was by Gordon Ryan.
Matthias also at ADCC won ADCC without surrendering a single point.
Yeah,
not a single point was scored against him, which is wild.
He's very good. He's very good. He's the best in the world at 88 kilos.
Kanan was the victim of one of my very good friend Lachlan Giles's heel hook victories at ADCC, and I'll put that up here too. Yeah. Us hanging out with Lachlan. Since then, I mean, just this year, Kanan has wins over Tex Johnson. He has wins over Mason Fowler at I think it was Third Coast. He beat Mason Fowler, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, friend of yours, friend of mine. Yeah, friend of the show.
Also up here. He's got wins over Nikki Rod. He's got wins over Leandro Lowe. Like, Kanan has beat a lot of people. And not all this year, like just in his life, but not just this. Yeah. I'm not saying just here, but.
And he beat the shit out of Rodolfo Vieira recently.
Right. So it's like, I don't know. This is so hard to pick, man. When these fights are, fighters are this good, it's hard to pick.
I'm gonna pick Kanan in this one, and I think that I don't think he's gonna submit him, but I'm gonna pick Kanan in this one, and I think that, given the size differential, and I don't want to say that Matthias Denise is not athletic, but there's just like a certain like level of athleticism that you see when Kanan's on the mat, and I think he's going to come out on top. Matthias Denise, still love you. Don't kill us.
Still a fan, bud.
Yeah,
still a fan.
Still huge fan.
Still a fan.
Here. Don't kill us.
Speaking of huge fans, we can talk about the Nikki Ryan fight because I know that's your boy.
Yeah.
But also, you're probably conflicted on this one because it's Nikki Ryan versus Dante Leon, and you love both of these dudes.
Yeah.
So
I follow Dante Leon on Instagram, and he's I don't know how much he weighs. Like, I don't know what he walks around at. It's like probably close to 170, 175 pounds. The amount of weight that this guy fucking lifts when he's like, he puts videos up of him powerlifting, squatting, and deadlifting. He is a fucking tank. And he's, let's just not like, oh, he's strong, because I hate that, right? Like, oh, you feel strong. Fuck you, guy. You know, like,
Yeah, that's not a compliment. That's not a compliment.
oh, you're so strong. All right, go fuck yourself. But he's a no-gi black belt world champ. You know, he's
Right.
he's the best in the world. You know, or one of the best in the world. I don't know if he won last year, but 2 years ago, no-gi black belt world champion. So yeah, he's really fucking good. He's one of the best in the world. And it's just gonna come down to what Nicky Ryan shows up.
Well, Nicky Ryan looked really, really good in his last match against Almeida. He didn't get the sub, right? It was a decision win over Gabriel Almeida, but Nicky Ryan looked really, really good. I don't know. Dante had a quote, and it's kind of long, so I'm going to read the whole thing so I don't mess it up. Dante said, "He wrestles up well and looks very comfortable on top against tough guard players. Regardless, ADCC rules will test him and force him to be outside of his comfort zone." He also said, "You can expect a very similar approach to my last match, especially since you are penalized for pulling guard under ADCC finals rules. I'm looking to come out, put him down, and find my way to the back for the finish." So we probably should have said in the beginning, this event is called Road to ADCC, and all of the matches are under ADCC rules. So for anyone who's not familiar with ADCC rules, Mike is going to give you a overview.
Okay, so it's funny that you say this, because I was just recently talking about this, and I'm like big into, you know, understanding like rule sets. You know, like in wrestling, there's 3 different rule sets. There's folk style, there's freestyle, there's Greco-Roman.
Here we go.
I'm just saying, I understand the majority of the rule sets, but ADCC is so unique. So in the qualifying rounds, there's 10 minutes, right? The leading up to the finals, they're 10 minutes, and for the first 5 minutes, there's no points, but you can have negative points. So if you're stalling or whatever they deem, like you can be penalized points. So, and then after that, it's points, right? So for takedowns and guard passes and back takes and stuff like that. But the takedown, when we had Mason Fowler on here, we were talking to him about like the rules and everything. The takedowns aren't what you would usually consider a takedown. Like, you have to take your opponent down and secure him on the ground. So it's not just like if he posts out on a hand, like you get a takedown. Like, you have to take him down and hold him there for, I think it's almost like 5 seconds or something like that. So that's why you see these guys during these scrambles, if they end up on their back or on their ass or something, they are scrambling to get back up, because if they don't get held down, there's no points. And there's no advantages in those, you know, first 5 minutes either. So it's kind of complicated, but I think that the rules are in place to kind of encourage, you know, people to be exciting, and, you know, not to be, they don't want people stalling. And these rules are in place to kind of, you know, encourage,
force the action a little bit,
to push the action, and to you know, get on your horse, and it's good, you know. But again, there's different rules for the qualifying rounds and time limits for the qualifying rounds, and then there is for the final. It's a lot. Just go and read it. It's a lot.
Just go and read it.
Just go and read it. It's a lot.
Well, I think what Dante is referencing in this situation is that Nikki is going to be less likely to pull guard because he would be penalized for it. And if he doesn't want to give up a penalty and lose points for pulling, having to wrestle against Dante, like, Dante's a superior wrestler. Right? I think that's just, it's an opinion that's a statement of fact. We can both agree Dante's a superior wrestler. So in that time frame where Nikki probably won't pull, how much damage can Dante do? Can he get to the back? Can he get the submission before Nikki can really engage his guard game in the way that he wants? So again, a tough match to pick, but I think a lot is going to depend on how Nikki can do in the wrestling against Dante, because we haven't seen Nikki pushed against a wrestler like this in the past.
Right.
So a big question.
So Dante's style is, and he's closely affiliated with Pedigo submission fighting and those guys. He trains with those guys. So it is a push the pace, in your face, hand fighting, taking all the shots that you can. It's a very high paced style. And that's not really what Nicky Ryan is. He can be. We've seen him in high paced matches before. But yeah, Dante is a superior wrestler. It'll be interesting to see, because Nikki has really good passing too. He has really good passing. That he's implemented that body lock passing style, and he's sucking the life out of people and passing these guards with ease. But like I said earlier, it depends on which Nicky Ryan shows up. Gordon Ryan swears that Nicky Ryan, who shows up in the practice room, could enter the ADCC Absolute Division and win easily.
Let's see it.
I don't agree with.
Let's see it.
I don't agree with that. But
what better time than now to show the full potential at the road to ADCC?
I'm stoked for. I want to say I'm really looking forward to that match, but I'm really looking forward to every match on this card. I do have one match, and I'm really, really excited.
Let me guess. Well, we haven't talked about only a few of them left, but I'm gonna guess that it's the Mikey Musumeci match.
Yeah. I'm a total Mikey Musumeci fanboy over here. Total.
I know. Mikey's return to no-gi has been a big success. 3 straight wins, including a beautiful heel hook win since he's come back to competing in no-gi for 5 years. He only competed in the gi. I think the last match against Juni Ocasio, where he didn't get to finish, but he was, dominating is a heavy word, but he was in control of that match the entire time. Yep. I think, all right, Mikey is here for no-gi, and this match against Gio, I know you're not a big Gio fan, but Gio's been in the no-gi game for a very long time. He's been to ADCC 3 times maybe, so he's got that experience. I think this is a big test for Mikey, but I'm also a big Mikey fan, so I think you know which way we'll be picking in this one.
I think Mikey's going to win. I think that Mikey's going to improve. The rate at which this kid improves is unparalleled, and it's just countless hours of tireless hard work. He put something out the other day. I think we talked about this. I don't know if it was on the show, but he says he trains 12 hours a day. He just wakes up and he studies and he trains 12 hours a day towards jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, that you're only going to get better. And he's so young. I think he's 25 years old. He's only going to get better. I'm so stoked that he's blowing up on the no-gi scene now. Not the biggest Gio Martinez fan, but no one can take away what he's done. He's a stud. I like Eddie Bravo. Their system has definitely proven to be effective. It's not something that we've seen Mikey against.
But I think that's why it's an interesting test. We haven't seen him against a true 10th planet. This is my system. This is what I'm playing. It'll be an interesting puzzle, I think, to figure out how Mikey deals with that.
And Mikey's going up in weight. Too.
True.
So it'll be a size advantage. It'll be, definitely a clash of techniques, and pulling for Mikey.
Pulling for Mikey as well. We have one more match with a friend of the show on it. We alluded to earlier, Andrew Wiltsey versus Roberto Jimenez. Andrew Wiltsey interview up here. People really like that one, so why not give it a click? This is going to be an exciting match. This match is going to be high-paced. This is going to be Roberto Jimenez he does not take his foot off the gas. Like, dude is go, 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 go. And Andrew Wiltsey is not a guy who's going to get tired. Like, he's going to stick in there and I think match that pace. And this is going to be a very good match.
So this is something that if you watch their training sessions, the Daisy Fresh training sessions, it's no wonder how these kids can push the pace like they do, because these are grueling training sessions. And he even came on the show. He's like, when we have training sessions, it's not technique. Like, we go in there for an hour and we're like smacking heads for an hour. It's just like balls to the wall. And then, you know, during the day they'll set aside time for drilling and you know, improving on whatever techniques that, you know, they want that day. But it takes 5 minutes of watching them train to be like, oh, now it's, you know, it makes sense why they don't get tired. But Roberto Jimenez is the same way. You know, this kid's going to push the pace too. Is he more technical? Probably. It's just going to be a matter of him either being able to deal with that pace and the physicality that Andrew Wiltsey brings to the match.
And I also don't think Andrew Wiltsey has ever competed under this ADCC rule set. So again, the rule set can impact a match. We've talked about it with Craig Jones and Mason Fowler about Mason Fowler in that rule set is very good, but in another rule set, you know, Craig might win that match.
Right.
I think that the rules can impact how a competitor approaches the match, and Andrew's never competed under these rules before. I don't think it will have such an impact that causes him to lose the match. It is just a dynamic that he's not experienced with the ADCC rule set. I've seen him posting recently about like his knee cut passing, and
it's a really cool
I'm
video.
hoping to. It's a really cool video. It really makes you think about knee cut passing and just sort of the way he approaches it.
We're off topic here, but it's worth talking about. It really does. The first minute of that video, you're like, all right, I'm doing this wrong. Because to a certain extent, I've always thought of like my knee cut setups and everything haven't been from the distance that he sets everything up at, right? It's that buzzsaw passing. He just it's so fucking fast, and it's just so explosive.
He's hitting like jump knee cut passes, but like
both sides, like, and I'm
not
like,
sloppy. Yeah,
it's like this guy would fucking murder me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any person on this card who is not capable of murdering you with your bare hands, but
sure.
I don't bet against Andrew Wiltsey because, you know, we're buddies and all, but I'm thinking Andrew Wiltsey takes it, but I think this is the match that I'm most excited for purely based on jiu-jitsu. Like the Mikey match, I'm really excited for because of the story of Mikey coming back to Nogi and a new puzzle in Geo, and can Mikey continue this 3-0 run that he's got? That story of the match on top of the good jiu-jitsu has my interest, but just from a pure like, let's watch some really good jiu-jitsu, this is going to be a fun match, I think that the Wiltsey Jimenez fight is going to be the most exciting one on the card.
I don't know. I don't want to make a statement like that, because they're just. I think that the Dante Leon Nikki Ryan one has a chance to be explosive. I think the Mikey Musumeci Gio Martinez one. I don't want to make. I don't. Don't make me do it. Don't forget about your girl Elizabeth Clay either.
No, so Elizabeth Clay has been winning everything. She just wins all the time. How many fights in a row do you think she has won by submission? How many?
I don't want to play this. Okay. Is it over or under 7?
It is over 7.
Okay. Is it over or under 12?
It's 11, because this is going to go on for a long time.
No, it wouldn't, because you would have said under, and I would have said 8. You would have said no, and I would have said 9. You would have said no, and I would have said 10. And you would have said no,
so
and
Elizabeth
I guess
Clay,
it's 11. And you would have said it's 11. So it would have taken 25 extra seconds.
Elizabeth Clay is on an 11 match submission win streak, and she wins by really fun submissions.
Yeah.
She's really fun to watch. And I think Elizabeth Clay, anytime Elizabeth Clay competes, you're almost guaranteed to see that clip on Instagram for like the next week, because it's always a fun, exciting clip or a cool submission. So Anna Carolina, who is facing Elizabeth Clay, I don't think that she's a very well-known grappler. I don't think a lot of people are too familiar with her. This will be a highlight reel finish for Elizabeth Clay. I'll call it right now. I'm sorry, Anna, but Elizabeth Clay just does Elizabeth Clay things.
The consensus show, the consensus picks from your favorite podcast host. Consensus is Elizabeth Clay by whatever Elizabeth Clay wants to win by.
Now, I don't think she's going to write in an envelope and hand it to the commentators to open up later as a big surprise reveal that she knew all along what she was going to do. But, I mean, anything can happen in a jiu-jitsu match, but I do think this is probably the biggest mismatch on the card. But there's not a lot of people who are going to hang with Elizabeth Clay on any event. So
I agree.
I think that's a pretty good rundown of the card. I am really stoked. I love these events. I love when Flow Grappling does these huge cards with tons of big names on it.
Yeah, I just think that it just brings so much. It puts the sport into the spotlight. It just gives them a huge platform. It promotes the shit out of the sports. It promotes the shit out of the sport. It puts money in these athletes' pockets. It's great for the show. Mo Jassim, Michael Sears, fucking kudos, because this is the shit that we need. Especially coming off of last year in 2020 where there wasn't really a lot going on with the pandemic, and then coming into 2021 and getting a slow start with everything. You know, these guys have really, went full steam ahead, and it's great. It's great for the sport. I'm super stoked for this fight card.
Part of the thing I love about cards like this is we don't have to be hypothetical about a lot of matches that unless Flow Grappling was doing this card would be hypothetical. What happened if it was, Mikey Musumeci versus Gio Martinez? I don't know. Let's debate about who we think would win, because those guys will never both be on the same card together. Right. Oh, wait, they are, with a bunch of other dudes. So it brings us fights that previously would just be hypothetical discussions for two jiu-jitsu nerds like us, or one jiu-jitsu nerd like you, and one really handsome guy with good hair.
I was just going to say one jiu-jitsu nerd like me, and then just one fucking nerd like you. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Yeah, do that.
And while you're giving it a thumbs up, why not push the subscribe button down there as well? And if you really, really like the show, why not share it with your friends? Because I think they'll like it. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.
See you guys.